Well, hey there, Packer Nation guys and dolls. It is Wednesday, and I am back. So let's jump in. Let me know who's out there. Let's do Packer Nation roll call. Who's out there saying hi today, and where are you from? And as we do that, I'm going to grab a little bit of coffee and get ready to talk some Packers on this Wednesday morning. It's already hump day, so we're going to be rolling into the weekend, and this weekend is going to be huge. I can't wait. We got the Hall of Fame induction ceremony coming up. We got the Hall of Fame game coming up. I know we have 5 preseason games that puts us at risk, but for right now, I am just happy to see the Packers football is freaking back. And I do have one thing I want to talk about that game in particular that seems interesting to me. Danielle is here. Go Pack. Go from Kansas. DM Kreutzer from Victorville, California. Hi there. Danielle, Go Pack, go from Cork, Ireland. All right. I am part Irish myself and would love to get over there sometime. Absolutely would love it. It's really on my bucket list, to be honest. Tim is here. Sharon is here. Danielle from Wichita, Kansas. All right. A Jordy Nelson fan, I bet. I missed one. Royce is here. Harlow is here. Jen Cordova is here again. Good to see you. Live near Chicago. Born a Cheesehead. Can't wait to leave for camp tomorrow. Great. Let us know how it goes. Fantastic. Glad you get to share in that. Hi, Justin. Jeff Hayes is here. Hey there, Jeff. GPN Zone on board. Debbie is here. Jerry, Peggy, Elaine, Tim, how you doing? Bryce, Penny Price. Love the green and gold. Absolutely. Well, yeah, today there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. And of course, closest on the horizon is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And one of the neat things about it is that they announced the order of inductions, and Brett Favre is going to be basically the keynote speaker. I mean, Brett Favre is, his wife, Deanna, is going to do the speech, but they're putting him at the tail end. He's the very last player to be inducted. And that is a position of honor. It basically means that Deanna's and Brett Favre are going to have the last word in this year's Hall of Fame induction. And I love that. And I think no one is more deserving. Of course, we got to give a shout out to Kevin Green as well. Utterly unbelievable linebacker and former coach of the Green Bay Packers. One of the reasons that Clay Matthews is a superstar in this league. Love the way he played the game. But of course, Packer fans are really excited to see Brett Favre get his first ballot, just desserts. I know that there was some controversy at the end of his career, but everything is coming full circle. Brett Favre is a Packer. Historically now, he is in the Ring of Honor. He is in the Packer Hall of Fame, and now he will get his gold jacket, and no one deserves it more. So I'm happy about that. I can't wait for that. And also, I'm very happy that Deanna is going to be doing the ceremony because, you know, if you recall, there was a lot of controversy. There was one point at which, and I forget where I read this. It may have been in the biography by Tom Kircher. But Deanna told him that he had to give up drinking or get out, that it was over. So there were ultimatums at times. We know of Brett Favre's addiction to Vicodin and how he got over that. He had a pill problem for a while there. He overcame that, and then he became one of the greatest players ever to play the position on the greatest team of all time in the NFL. It's pretty fantastic, and I love that Deanna's going to be doing the speech. It's just great to see those two stay together really through thick and thin, and in a difficult situation. Being a superstar in the NFL is not easy on a marriage, I imagine. So just going to be totally excited for Brett Favre and the whole family. It's going to be a great time. And then, of course, that weekend, we have the Hall of Fame football game to play. So Sunday night, we get to watch the Packers take the field again. And this time, it's not a practice. It's for real. Now, I know the starters are probably going to play maybe a series at most. We're going to see mostly changes in and out. What the coaches are going to be looking for is individual players and how they fit and how versatile they can be, where they can be plugged in. And Dom Capers talked about that this week. How many different positions can players plug in? They're supposed to, if they can do this, and the Packers have an extra preseason game to get some of those scenarios under their belt, get a lot of stuff on tape, and be able to see these young guys in particular perform in live action against someone other than their own teammates, which is extremely important. I know when we come into the preseason, and it very quickly gets less interesting because it's preseason, and very quickly we want the season to come around, the regular season. But let me tell you this. This is interesting about, now here's what's interesting about the Hall of Fame game this year. All right? Give me a thumbs up if you are interested to see basically what we're going to get is Brett Hundley versus Scott Tolzien. And I know those are two non-starters. Neither one of them probably will see the field unless something horrible happens. But I'm excited to see this matchup because what we get to see is former Green Bay Packer backup who did get to play at Lambeau, did get to score a touchdown at Lambeau, did get to do a Lambeau leap, but is now with the Colts. And as a backup to Andrew Luck, he may see quite a bit of playing time. So we can kind of compare then what we've lost to now the second string quarterback for Green Bay. That is the current second string quarterback, Brett Hundley, who has looked really good. And I think we'll get a lot of playing time. I think the Green Bay Packers are interested in getting Hundley out on the field quite a bit. He's a young guy. He's still got fresh legs. He's hardly been in the league for just a year. And it's going to be interesting for me to watch these two guys perform. And as you know, if you've watched this show, I'm high on Brett Hundley. Coming back from family night, and I do want to say thanks to everyone in on the live video. We kind of just impromptu there, but I got like 8,000 views. They're probably up to close to 100,000 now. It was just an utterly fantastic time. But one thing that popped into my mind when Brett Hundley went on the field, and then I was like my mind just wanted to push it out, was that he looks like Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. And I mean, obviously it's apples to oranges. Aaron Rodgers does it real time, does it starting against starting defenses. But Brett Hundley, especially when he was forced to roll out of the pocket, shoulders squared, eyes downfield, but yet really light on his feet and extremely elusive without losing track of his wide receivers downfield. When I saw that, in my mind, I said to myself, man, he looks like Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, the obvious thought following that was, don't say that. You can't think that. There's no way. But it's good to see. Hundley seems to be developing. And, of course, this preseason, as it goes along, he's going to see a lot of action. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. But I am particularly interested, and we'll probably get on and do some analysis between Scott Tolzien and Brett Hundley. Obviously, they both play offense, so they're not facing each other. It's not like a defensive lineman or a defensive linebacker against Hundley, so it's not a direct correlation. But it'll be great to compare stats on these guys, see who perform better. Of course, snap counts are going to be different. I don't know what approach Indianapolis has to how many snaps Scott Tolzien is going to have, but most likely we're going to see him out on the field quite a bit. Okay? So, yeah, we got John says, Hundley is the bomb. Really happy to have him on the team. We had Matt Flynn, Scott Tolzien, and they were sort of serviceable, I think is the way that I would describe them. Hundley looks like he has potential to be more than serviceable. This preseason is going to really be what tells the tale. Larry is here, same as always with Adams. Adams has some work to do, but like I've said before, Adams is not going to give up his third position easily, and with Ty Montgomery still unable to take the field, the ball is in anybody's court at this point. And so we'll see how it goes. Big Nick is back. Hey man, which receiver is having the best camp? Man, Abradaris has turned it on so strong the last couple of practices, and then at family night, obviously you got. I'm assuming that we're pushing Randall Cobb out of that conversation. I'm assuming you're not talking about Randall Cobb. Jordy Nelson is still on the PUP list. So I have got to say, Jared Abradaris has had a fantastic camp so far. And he was one of the ones I was thinking of as on the bubble. Jeff Janis hasn't showed up to a great extent. Has flashed and shown what he could do. Trevor Davis had a great family night. Devontae had a good catch. He's been inconsistent. I think it was Aaron Rodgers afterwards. Aaron Rodgers described Adams' family night as extremely good. Maybe it was McCarthy. I can't remember, so don't quote me on that. But the words were out there that he did a fantastic job. What that says to me is when you look underneath just catches, receptions, you have to go away from that stat to come up with that conclusion. But he's running good routes, needs to work on it, of course. The drops that he's had apparently have not been as bad as they sort of look to the naked eye, is the other thing I would imagine in that. But we will see. Jared says, Abby, I think Abbrederis is really coming on strong. The guy is looking like money right now. Ty Montgomery not making the field is starting to concern me, because if, as you know, if you're like me, you're a guy who's high on Ty Montgomery. Not only was he coming on strong, and did Aaron Rodgers trust him early on last season, but he also was being put in the backfield. They were showing his versatility, getting him involved in some other things. If we had Ty Montgomery when Randall Cobb went out in the Arizona Cardinals game, I think that game would have ended differently. But I gotta say, Jared Abbrederis right now, he's been money. I mean, he had, 3 touchdowns in the 2 practices before family night. And that's crazy. That's just crazy. So he's stepping up, looking good. All right, let's see. What else did I want to chat about? Well, I am excited about the Hall of Fame game just because we don't play it that often. And it's the very first game to hit the board, the very first game that you get to do some true analysis of real football, live action football. I do want to discuss a little bit, and I don't want to go too far afield because I know we've tried to keep the topics down on this show, but a lot of people, I'm waiting to see how many people I see, talk about the preseason is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. And I want to clarify that a little bit. Number one, you will not hear me use that terminology for the preseason because the preseason is incredibly meaningful. Just ask any of the rookies who are trying to get a job in the NFL. However, I totally understand that the preseason games, they don't tell the true picture in terms of what kind of a team we're going to put together because the coaches, that's not the point of the preseason games. They also have no meaning in terms of wins or losses. You can't project that, okay, we beat, so-and-so in the preseason, so we're going to be able to beat them during the season. No, of course not. So I understand what people say, and I know a lot of people are going to get out there very quickly as the preseason begins. It's going to be the preseason is meaningless, but the preseason is not meaningless. I just think those are words ill chosen, to be honest, because you ask guys like Kenny Clark, you ask guys like Brett Hundley, oh, hey man, the preseason's meaningless, right? Do you really think they're going to agree with you? They're going to disagree strongly. The preseason is extremely meaningful for them. And guys like Kenny Clark, you look at guys like Jared Abbrederis, who's spent a couple years injured and needs to prove himself that he can stay on the field. The preseason is going to be huge for these guys. It's also huge for the coaches. Now, I know the balance has to be struck, and it hasn't, I don't think, in the NFL, in terms of how many preseason games do you want to risk your players as a coach. But the fact of the matter is the coaches do not get any better evaluative tool than preseason games to see these young guys play, to plug in some new guys, to get Clay Matthews out to the outside for a few snaps, see how Martinez plays in that situation, to get these young guys in there. And so the preseason is extremely important, and I've said all along that 5th preseason game, that extra preseason game, is a risk. There's no way around that, because when you play the game of football, you put bodies at risk. That's systemic to the game. You can't get away from it. But our extra preseason game, especially with how young we always keep our roster, is pretty important. So I am looking forward to this preseason game. I hope you are too. Number one, the first one, you're always just looking forward to seeing some live football. And I can't wait. Sunday's on the way, you guys. It's Wednesday. We'll be running Thursday, talking pack football way through. We're going to have some Hall of Fame stuff coming up. We've got a top 10 Brett Favre post coming up from our own Mike Jackart. And so thanks for that, Mike. We're putting that together even as we speak. And I hope you enjoy your week. Your week goes well. That is all for me today. I don't want to go too long, but yes, football is back on the horizon, and it's going to come really quick. So let me do some shout-outs on the way out. I've got Big Nick saying preseason is time for players to get time play. And that's exactly right, Big Nick. Because, yes, practice is important. yes, you can take mental reps, and you can, these elite athletes know that even mental reps can make you a better player. You can get on the field in family night and have the crowds and it's a live situation in terms of your 2-minute drill. You can put all these things together. You can have training camp practices with live hitting, but there is nothing that compares to putting someone with another colored jersey and a different colored helmet on the other side of the line and going toe to toe and getting things done. And it's going to be huge for these young players. Obviously, the Packers aren't going to want to show their hand. They're going to be keeping things close to the vest, but they are also going to be showing the investment they have in Brett Hundley and some of these young players out there. Martinez, I'm going to have my eye on. It's going to be really, really fun to watch. There's so many guys that we can watch for out there. You watch the development of Reynolds, stuff like this. I mean, these are guys, second-year players. Our defensive backfield could be incredible this year if our second-year guys take a leap. You got Ladarius Gunter out there too. So we got Hector on, love my team. Jen here, Canton, here come the Cheeseheads. Dang right. You represent now. That's important. And we represent as well as anyone in the NFL. So Cedric, go Pack, go. Preseason shows what type of talent we have. Exactly. And it helps the coaches put together the best combination to put the best team on the field. And that's super important. I know Dom Capers talked about this too. Another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and I will take a minute to talk about this, because you won't see a lot of bloggers mentioning this. You won't see a lot of the beat writers writing about this. But what you will hear is the coaches, and Dom Capers in particular on defense, talking about how preseason games and training camp and all of this live action stuff gives defensive coordinators a chance to plug players in. And for example, not even talking about players that haven't played, young players. Dom himself mentioned Morgan Burnett in this hybrid linebacker role. So they can put him in and give him reps and then find out what he can do, what kind of versatility level he offers. Guys like Dayton Jones get reps at that elephant position, get reps to get comfortable. And the way that Dom Capers framed it was this. You don't want to be one injury away from taking half your defensive playbook off the field because you have one player injured that you don't have anyone to fit in. Well, so now versatility comes into it. If you have a guy like Morgan Burnett and you can move some people around, you can keep your playbook intact in the event of a shakeup in your line. And we saw that, every year. In fact, it wasn't last year so much, but in years past, where the defense has had major shakeup, and Dom Capers is making this team better by putting some players in positions where they show their versatility, develop their skills and versatility, and it's going to be better for us. It's going to be good for us in the long run. It's going to pay dividends. Mark my words right now, because it is very possible you won't hear this from anyone else. But this preseason, when we're able to put in guys in packages where it's not their normal position, but even long-term players who go into positions and learn a new skill set and understand a new position, it's going to pay dividends for us down the road. You just watch and mark my words on that one. All right, Philip is back. Hey, man, I don't know if you saw it, but I put up an apology, Phil, for I think I called you by your brother's name. It's just because your brother's name was in, I kind of knew him better, so apologies, man. Hey, I really appreciate that. ESPN tonight, check out soccer at US. Okay, I'm going to read this, guys. You can turn on soccer at US Bank Stadium. The noise is going to be loud. Preview of the Vikings home field. All right, Phil is a Viking fan. Don't hate on him. Respect, man. We're coming for you because you guys are the reigning SC champs, but we are on our way. Week 2 is going to be big. But for everybody out there, Phil says we can get a glimpse, and I'm interested in this. It's going to be a soccer game. My youngest plays soccer, so I have some interest anyway, but I want to see that stadium. So check it out, guys, if you get a chance. And thanks a lot, Phil, for jumping on. Jump on anytime. Talk a little smack. I want to see you week 2 because we are going to go for it, all right? It's going to be back and forth. I need to get you live on this show one of these days, and we can go at it. It'd be nice if I was going to be up there before the Vikings game. So great to see you, Phil. Have a good day, man. Brad is here. Hector, hi. I wear my jersey and tattoo with pride in Los Angeles. Way to go, man. Love to hear it. Man, we have got representing for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if maybe it's because, Rams Rams just moved there, and LA hasn't had the team for a while. But fantastic to see how broad and deep and wide Packer Nation is. It's great to have you, Hector. Jay is here. Shout out to the Cheeseheads around the globe. I'm sure they all appreciate it. Jay, Curtis is here. Pack Attack, let's go. All right, guys. I'm going to close it up. It's been great talking to you. It's been fun to be back. I had a little snafu. I actually wanted to come on live yesterday because we got home Monday super early in the morning. And I had a little technical snafu. And by that, I mean I left my power cord to my laptop in Wisconsin. So, and then when I tried to buy a replacement, it didn't work out. So at any rate, I am back. I can't wait. We've got so much to talk about, guys. I almost have to take my promise to stick to one topic off the table just because there's so much to talk about. So if you're cool with that, you can heart me or give me the, and as always, you can jump off at any time because I totally understand that your time is valuable and I want to talk about the Packers in a meaningful way. So Panos is here. Do you think the Packers will ever play in London? Yes, I do. I think they will. I think it's going to be unavoidable at one point, I think is the way it's going to work out. And frankly, I know most people are against that. I'm going to take a minute. You guys feel free to jump off, say goodbye if you have to go. But I do want to talk about the international NFL thing for just a minute because, you know, the Packers have been very clear they don't want to play in China. And the bulk of the response from American football players is let's keep it an American sport. I'm not in that camp. I got to be honest. I want to keep it an American sport, but I want to showcase it worldwide. Because and here's one. This is one reason that's nearest and dearest to me. So if you'll listen to this one, you know, at least you'll understand what I mean, whether you agree or disagree. There are so many Packers fans around the world that I would love if the Packers played in Germany. I know that there are guys that jumped on here that would get a chance to see the Packers. And maybe it's not Lambeau Field, you know, but they don't have to fly halfway around the world, which is, you know, it's fair if they do, if we keep it in America, whatever. But I would love for those guys to have a chance to see the Packers play. And I also know that the Packers would pick up such a fan following because people would begin to understand the history of this team. And I think it would be good for the Packers. And that and the fact that, you know, soccer is huge. And soccer is a lower impact sport. There is a transition now when you look at even soccer now is looking at concussion protocols from heading the ball. Well, for crying out loud, if soccer is looking at concussion protocols, just imagine it's many times moms out there now that are making the decisions in terms of which sport the children are playing. The NFL has to be careful to keep its crop of youth coming. And I think international exposure, I think it's inevitable, number one. I would love nothing more than for Chris Carnell to be able to go and see a game in London, you know, if he wanted to. Frankly, if the Packers played in London, it would perk my ears up and I would be looking at ticket prices and just seeing if I could get there, just to see it happen. And, you know, right now, Jared says he'd rather than play in Australia. But, you know, that's my point, is the same thing for you, is, you know, that they go to Sydney or something like that and get a chance to play. But that being said, I do understand the pressure that puts on the team. And I do understand that teams and coaches are not high on that. But it's the same amount of pressure for both coaches, and I do think it presents a challenge. I don't want to minimize the challenge that it presents, but, you know, my heart goes out to guys like, let's say, what about military, you know, guys too that, you know, maybe are stationed somewhere and might be close enough to get to go to a game, things like this. My heart goes out to people who love the Green Bay Packers, but just it's not logistically possible to go see the team live. And if you've been to a game, here's a heart me if you've been to a game, because you understand that there is nothing like it, especially at Lambeau, but even away, to see this team live, to see Aaron Rodgers standing down on the field and be able to watch him off camera, because the camera limits our view of our team. There's no two ways about it. The way the NFL goes about the game right now, they show us the game better than we can see it at the stadium. But there is no substitute for live action and actually being at a game. So those are kind of my thoughts on that. And again, I think we need to ease into it, but I do think it's inevitable. To answer your question, I do think it's kind of inevitable. And to me, it seems like London is where we're going to eventually land. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how much power the Green Bay Packers are going to have over controlling their own destiny in this regard. But I think it could be important to the NFL in general, especially if you've seen some of the goals that they've set in terms of revenue. Their revenue goals almost make it inevitable. This is part of the reason that they're talking about this, going to Mexico City, going to China, going to London, continuing in London, and going to Germany is because their revenue goals are so high. So that's part of the reason in my mind is this idea that it may be inevitable. So I think we should prepare for it. And I know that Coach McCarthy is preparing for it from a team standpoint, just because, not as a high priority, but in the back of his mind, he's going to be ready for it in the eventuality that it happens. I think it will eventually. So, all right, Jill is here. It's the best to be at Green Bay. Yes, it sure is. No question about it. Hey, Grayson, how you doing, man? Digging that shirt. You like the shirt? Hey, I appreciate that, man. Why I got this? I was walking the streets. I was headed up to Lambeau for family night, and there was a dude that had one of these, and I thought it was totally different, but I thought it was really cool. And so I went in, I looked around. There's one thing about the Packer Pro Shop is, number one, the Packers lay out a spread like nobody else. It's so freaking awesome there, just the atmosphere and everything. But you go to the Pro Shop and you've got some shirts and stuff that you can find there that are really dang cool, off the charts. I was able to get a few things, not too much, but I did get this one. I got one more T-shirt, and I love it. But the thing is, if you like this style, they've got a ton of different colors for this now too. And the thing is, it doesn't have any Green Bay colors, but all you got to do is put Big G on. And you wouldn't even need to say, well, I guess you would need to say Green Bay. Otherwise, somebody might think this is a Georgia shirt, which, this is Green Bay Packers. So, yeah. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, man. I really am enjoying it. And actually, it's super comfortable, too. So, that's my pitch for the Packer Pro Shop. Jump on, guys. Buy stuff. If you can go there, the one thing about going there is when you buy stuff out of the Pro Shop, it goes straight to the Green Bay Packers, and it doesn't go through the same distribution route with the NFL and then back to the Packers in terms of revenue. That's my understanding. So, that's part of the reason that when I do get to Lambeau, I like to spend a little money. It's just, it's my little way of feeling like I inject something into the team, especially when I'm there already. I'm kind of in the, I've already bought a ticket, and I'm already kind of contributing. And Green Bay Packers fans, there is nobody else on the planet that contributes to their team more in terms of actual ownership. So anyway, that's my pitch for that, and I thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Family night was fantastic, guys. It's just a practice, but the atmosphere that okay, I'm gonna make a mention of family night. And again, if you guys got to work, I really want to kind of make this a commute show where if you're on your way to work, you can just watch it on your way to work, and then just head into work, have a good day, kind of thing. But I am gonna take a minute. Feel free to jump off if you got to go. Say goodbye. I'll try to catch you on your way out. Here's what family night does. Okay, if you think about it, number one, it's for the kids. The kids have fun. There's fun stuff for the kids. My kids were in section 136, okay? I was up in the nosebleeds, which is why I got fantastic video of the fireworks and the parachuters coming, the parafoil people coming in. But it's for the kids, number one. You're going to see a practice, so you do get some good information. Kyler Fackrell with an interception, I think, at family night. So you get these little snippets, but it's not like a game at all. But here's the deal. When you go to family night, so keep buying tickets. This is my plug for the Green Bay Packers. I don't get paid by them, but obviously I support Packers.com. I love what they do. And anyway, here's what you do for them. And Coach McCarthy talked about this. When you get out there during a practice and the cheering and the energy for a 2-minute drill or something like this, and it truly injects a live atmosphere into the practice that no other coach and no other team in the league can duplicate. And that comes down to Packers fans buying tickets to family night and going. And you hear Coach McCarthy and you hear Aaron Rodgers say this, and they say it like it's heartfelt. They appreciate Packers fans coming to this practice because nobody can duplicate this. How many coaches pipe in music or pipe in crowd noise to their practices to try to duplicate what us fans do for the Green Bay Packers on the field? So think about it this way. It's not just for you. And there are things, you could go to family night and come away and thinking, well, I saw practice. But number one, it's incredibly affordable. $10, are you kidding me? It's incredibly affordable. Number two, it's for the kids. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. Oh, and I didn't finish. My kids were in section 136, and we were listening. Chad and I were listening. You'll see him on the video. And they called section 136, and we were both just like holding our breath. And none of my kids or his kids got one of the jerseys. But for a second there, it was like this total excitement that maybe one would have picked, and it would have been whose was it? Rich Rodgers' jersey from family night. Would have been an absolute memory to remember, and didn't happen this time. But for that reason only, that hope is really why I wanted to do this. The chance that maybe one of my kids would have something happen that literally 67,000, and in fact it might have been closer to 80,000, because I don't know if they could take ticket numbers out of their randomizer or whatever that they use to choose. But yeah, it was worth it. Didn't happen this time, but it's worth it. So that's my spiel on family night. I really enjoyed it. I think the Packers do family stuff better than anybody else, and have loved every trip that I've had to Lambeau. So I do encourage you, if you get a chance, to go. It's really reasonable and a lot of fun. And everybody there, my mom had trouble getting to the stadium, and it's a huge management issue to get all those people into that stadium, and I think the Packers organization does a fantastic job. Well, I've got a guy getting ready, of course, because I'm on live, to, cut down a few trees or trim or mow or whatever, as usual. And so I'm going to get off here, guys, but I appreciate all of you coming along. Tammy, I live in Northeast Tennessee, and I'm going to split my time as much as I can to be up in Green Bay, Sheboygan area. If you saw the video, if you didn't jump on and look through our videos, I've got a video from Sheboygan that we went live with. You can see the lake there, and then fireworks from family night. So check it all out, guys. I enjoy all the interaction that we have. Look for our posts on greenbaypackernation.com. Jeff Hayes is coming through with some posts. Mike Jackard is coming up with something as Brett Favre gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. We have the Cheese Newswire, which is the only Packer-only sport humor site that I know of anywhere around, and we are bringing it with a lot of fun on the Cheese Newswire. We will throw some of those over on our Facebook GPN page as well. So you guys have a great time. Hector is a truck driver. All right, man. I totally understand. I used to drive truck, Hector, and I could not get enough of podcasts and stuff like that. So welcome aboard, Hector. Please drive safe. Please don't interact with the video. I know I ask for polls and thumbs up and hearts and stuff. Although if you're a truck driver, you can probably interact and still drive more safely than many of the people on the road. So I'm not snubbing your driving skills by any stretch, but I do want you to be safe, man, on the road. I know you guys work long hours and are out on the road for almost an interminable amount of time. So be safe, brother, and I hope to see you every morning. So Jose is here. Go Packs, go. Curtis Stout, how do you see the Packers season going this year? That's too big a question for the tail end of the show, but in short, I think we run for it all this year. I think we drive it home. I'm not sure exactly what the scenario of that is, but the pieces are coming together. In particular, we will see on Sunday night, we are going to start to see live action from guys like Kyler Fackrell, to start to see where his development lies. Martinez, where his development lies. One of the guys I'm watching is Ladarius Gunter, where his development lies. If we get to see Morgan Burnett, who probably won't see, this is probably for later on, but in a hybrid linebacker position, that is of interest to me. What happens when injuries start to come around? Of course, we're going to see Brett Hundley out on the field. I'm excited to see him. Guys, what I'm excited about is when the rubber hits the road. I'll use that term for my new truck driver friend out there. When the rubber hits the road, I get to now do analysis on real football, live action. And I'm going to be coming at you with some posts talking about where I think individual players are at, in particular when we're talking about the preseason. So you can look forward to football, but yes, to answer your question. I think the Packers are primed to go the distance. I will be filling that out as I go along, but like me and Ned, I think it was Ned out there who I forget. I think Ned said 12-4 and is sticking to it. I am sticking to my prediction, and I'm in good company here that the Packers go represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. We'll be fleshing that out in a little more specifics as we go along, of course. Hector, be careful, man, and glad to see you. I hope to see you every morning. And I'm going to sign. I don't want to go too long, and Hector, sorry, I could talk about the Packers all day long, but I do need to get on because I've got to get some other stuff done. Get some posting out at greenbaypackernation.com and hopefully write up a humor post for you. I love doing the humor, but I've gotten away from it a little bit recently, and I think with the Hall of Fame induction coming up, there's probably something that I can do in terms of, Hall of Fame. That usually ends up being something funny. So I will talk to you guys again tomorrow morning. As always, be safe. Have a great Wednesday. Thursday's on its way. We're going to be rolling into a weekend that includes live Packer football. Go Pack.